Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will do an in-ring overview of Alexander Volkanovski. We will examine the good parts, the bad parts, and the overall legacy of Alexander the Great. But before we begin, make sure you like and comment on this video. Also subscribe if you haven't. I'm looking to get to 100 subs and I can use your help. Also, I have an affiliate link to sports memorabilia in the description if you would like to help out the channel. Thank you for your support. Now let's begin. Alexander Volkanovski, also known as Alexander the Great, is a UFC fighter who has competed in multiple weight classes, but is best known for his featherweight division run. Standing at 5'6", Volkanovski is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, having trained under Joe Lopez. Born in Wollongong, New South Wales on September 29, 1988, Alex Volkanovski has been interested in mixed martial arts since a young age. Having won 2 national titles in Greco-Roman wrestling at the age of 12, he grew up watching UFC events and renting MMA VHS tapes from Blockbuster. Coach Joe Lopez says that Alex began training in MMA at 22 years old while keeping fit during the rugby league off-season. He weighed 97 kilograms or 214 pounds at the time, but eventually quit rugby league at 23 to pursue a career in MMA, starting as an amateur middleweight fighter. Alex gradually adjusted his weight and eventually turned professional, moving down to the featherweight division. Based at Freestyle Fighting Gym in Wollongong, Alex also trains at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, Thailand, and City Kickboxing in Auckland, New Zealand during training camps. With a passion for MMA since childhood and his strong wrestling background, Alex Volkanovski is a force to be reckoned with in the featherweight division. Before making his mark in the UFC, Alex Volkanovski had already established himself as a dominant fighter in various promotions. He won the Ro Yusimbo MMA Welterweight Championship and went on to claim 2 Ro Yusimbo MMA Lightweight Championships. In addition, Alex also earned a Pacific Extreme Combat title and 2 Australian Fighting Championship featherweight titles. To top it off, he even took home the Wollongong Wars Lightweight Championship. These numerous championship wins showcase just how talented and accomplished Alex was before his UFC debut. It's no wonder that he continues to be a dominant force in the featherweight division. Let's examine the 10 biggest wins of Volkanovski's UFC run. In his fight in the UFC against Mizuto Hirota, Alex Volkanovski put on a dominant performance. In round 1, Hirota landed a right hand before Alex closed in and trapped him against the cage. He then dropped Hirota with some ground and pound before separating. Alex was able to get a takedown and end the round with strikes thrown at Hirota. Round 2 opened with a blitz of offense from Hirota, but Alex answered back with some big strikes of his own. With more technical striking exchanges, it was clear that Alex was landing the better shots. At the end of the 3 rounds, Alexander Volkanovski was declared the winner via decision. This fight against Mizuto Hirota showcased Alex's technical striking skills and his ability to control the pace of the fight, making him a formidable opponent in the featherweight division. In his fight against Shane Young, Alex Volkanovski started off feeling out his opponent for the first minute, but he quickly made his move, throwing a big right and going for a takedown after it missed. Throughout the fight, Alex swept Young off his feet twice, with Young popping up quickly both times. Despite Young's efforts to break free, Alex pushed forward and landed a final takedown. At the end of the 3 rounds, Alexander Volkanovski was declared the winner via decision. This fight against Shane Young showcased Alex's aggressive approach and his ability to take control of the fight. The fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Darren Elkins began with a touch of gloves, and the 2 fighters were off to a fast start. After 3 intense rounds of back and forth action, Alexander Volkanovski was declared the winner by unanimous decision with scores of 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28. This fight against Darren Elkins highlighted Alex's quick reflexes, grappling skills, and determination to win, making him a top contender in the featherweight division. In the highly anticipated match between Alexander Volkanovski and Jeremy Kennedy, the 2 featherweights took to the cage at UFC 221 in Perth, Australia. The bout was originally slated for UFC Sydney, but Kennedy had to withdraw due to a neck injury. On fight night, Kennedy was ready to compete, but it was Volkanovski who held the center in the early going. Kennedy quickly went for a single leg takedown, but it was Volkanovski who came out on top, securing a KO victory at 4:57 of round 2. In the bout between Alexander Volkanovski and Yusu Kasuya, the action was intense from start to finish. Kasuya attempted to secure leg locks from the bottom, but Volkanovski made him pay for it with powerful right hands. The 2 fighters engaged in a back and forth ground battle, with Volkanovski spending more time on top. Despite Kasuya's focus on submissions, Volkanovski punished him with hard punches whenever an opportunity presented itself. The damage from Volkanovski's punches began to take its toll on Kasuya in the second round, following a Volkanovski takedown. In the end, Volkanovski emerged victorious, winning by TKO in the second round due to ground and pound. Alexander Volkanovski dominated the fight against Chan Sung-jian from start to finish. His powerful leg kicks threw Jian off balance, and his sharp boxing dropped and rocked Jian multiple times in the first 3 rounds. The damage continued to accumulate until it caught the attention of referee Herb Dean at the end of round 3. The cage-side physician was called in to examine Jian, who was swollen, bleeding, and scraped, but gave approval for the fight to continue. However, the fight was over before the round even started. Volkanovski rocked Jian with a devastating combination seconds into round 4, and Dean had seen enough. Although Jian didn't go down, he was clearly wobbled, and the accumulation of strikes took its toll. Volkanovski won by 4th round TKO. The highly anticipated featherweight match between Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski took place at an electrifying pace. The match was an intense kickboxing fight, with both fighters looking to make their mark. Volkanovski aimed for the overhand right, while Mendes counterpunched with quick combinations. Despite Volkanovski's slick jab and feinting, Mendes was able to take him down with a minute left in the first round, but Volkanovski quickly regained his footing. Chad started strong in the second round, but it was Volkanovski who was able to endure the pressure and come back with a thunderous TKO finish. The highly hyped featherweight bout between Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega took the UFC world by storm. The two warriors took turns in taking control of the fight, exchanging blows in the first 2 rounds. However, it was the 3rd round that will forever be remembered as one of the most legendary in UFC history. Ortega dropped Volkanovski with a glancing blow, and then seized the opportunity to go for a mounted guillotine. It appeared that Ortega was moments away from winning the UFC gold for the first time, but Volkanovski showed remarkable strength as he slipped out of the submission. The fight took a drastic turn as Volkanovski unleashed a series of ground and pound punches. Ortega tried to respond with a triangle choke, but Volkanovski proved his mental toughness as he escaped and finished the round with a barrage of strikes. The crowd gave a round of applause to both featherweights after the intense 25-minute affair. In the end, Alexander Volkanovski emerged victorious with a 5-round decision win over Brian. The crowd at the arena in Rio erupted with Jose Aldo chants as the fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Jose Aldo began. Volkanovski took the outside of the cage and used a lot of feints with the jab and quick leg kicks. Aldo was patient and didn't let his hands go, waiting for the right moment to strike. The first round saw solid shots from both fighters, with Aldo landing a good hook to the body and Volkanovski connecting with a straight right. The second round started with Volkanovski continuing to work on his leg kicks and Aldo starting to land hard shots. The two fighters clinched, with Aldo landing a knee to the stomach and a hard left hook. The fight was stopped briefly as Aldo was poked in the eye, but the fight resumed and both fighters continued to battle it out until the final bell. In the end, it was Alexander Volkanovski who won the fight via a 3-round decision over Jose Aldo, and his most impressive win is his victories in the Max Holloway trilogy. In the highly anticipated fight at UFC 245, Alexander Volkanovski faced off against Max Holloway in the co-main event in Las Vegas. Volkanovski used his inside leg kick to great success, but Holloway's head kick at the end of the first round dropped Volkanovski. Holloway continued his strong performance on the feet in the second round, dropping Volkanovski with a combination of an uppercut and left hook. However, in the third and fourth rounds, Volkanovski stepped up his game, matching Holloway's output and attempting to incorporate wrestling into his approach. The fifth round was extremely close, with Volkanovski improving and trying to take Holloway to the ground. Volkanovski ultimately came away with the win. At UFC 251, despite Holloway having the two best strikes of the night, Volkanovski also connected with hard punches, particularly in the later stages of the fight. In the end, it was the fifth round that proved to be the decider, with all three judges giving rounds 1 and 2 to Holloway and rounds 3 and 4 to Volkanovski. Collett and Werner gave the fifth round and the fight to Volkanovski, resulting in a unanimous decision win for Volkanovski. In his fourth defense of his featherweight title at UFC 276, Volkanovski dominated Holloway and left him bloodied at T-Mobile Arena. The judges scored the fight 50-45 for Volkanovski, improving his record to 25-1 and making him 12-0 overall in the octagon. With this victory, Volkanovski passed Holloway in the UFC featherweight history and now stands 3 wins behind Aldo, cementing his status as Alexander the Great. Alexander Volkanovski's only loss in his career is to Corey Nelson. Let's take a closer look at Nelson's career to understand the type of fighter he is. Nelson started his professional career with a record of 2-1-1 in his first 4 fights in 2009. He then went on a 7-fight win streak from 2010 to 2011, before suffering his first loss of a 3-fight skid to Robert Whittaker in 2011 and 2012. However, Nelson rebounded with another 7-fight win streak, including his victory over Volkanovski by head kick in the 3rd round in 2012 to 2014. He suffered a decision loss to Anton Zafir in 2015. Nelson would go 4-1 in his next 5 fights from 2014 to 2017, showing that he is a resilient fighter who is capable of bouncing back from losses. But he lost his last 2 fights in 2018 and 2019. Now looking at his legacy, Alexander Volkanovski is considered a prototype for a well-rounded mixed martial arts fighter. He has raised the bar for competitors in the Oceania region, leading the way for successful transitions from rugby players to MMA fighters like James Haskell and Carlos Ulberg, with 4 victories against former featherweight champions Jose Aldo and Max Holloway. Volkanovski has established himself as a dominant force in the division. Now, with aspirations to challenge for the lightweight belt, Volkanovski aims to cement his place among the greatest fighters of all time. If you stayed around, please share and like this video, and subscribe to this channel. Also, I have an affiliate link to sports memorabilia in the description if you would like to help out the channel. I got another video right here. Thanks for watching.